tell. If I'm still living, then I'm crawling out of hell. I'm just a man, just got my story to tell. You got ears to hear, I hope you listen well.
Hell yeah. What's going on? What's happening? Good morning out there. Happy Friday. It is a fine Friday. A fucking fine Friday edition of BS with Be Honest. That's me. What's up, yo? I'm Nikki Be Honest. What's up, world? What's up, YouTube? Welcome to my little morning YouTube talk show. Whole premise of this, I'll wake up and I'll take a nice walk. I'll read some good stuff. Come out here, talk to the people. When I'm done here, gotta go lift. Gotta go lift and go to work. Go about my business, live my real life. But this is fun. I like to get out here, talk about what I read, talk about what I'm thinking, talk about what I'm observing or seeing or whatever. It's been fun. It's only getting more fun as we go. What's up, EMP? My dude in the chat. The series of emojis. We got an umbrella, we got a cloud, rain, flex, lift. Yeah. Yeah. What's up with the weather, man? Can you believe it? It's fucking like in the span of 5 days, it goes from 7 inches of snow, fucking crazy snow on Sunday. Now it's all gone. We got some Christmas trees in the chat. Yeah, it don't feel like Christmas right now, though. Felt like Christmas all week. Now it feels like fall. Feels like Halloween or something. Whatever. Pennsylvania weather. That's all good. I got soaked on my walk. But that's all right, dude. That's all right, man. We keep moving forward. I've been having fun doing this. I found that Advent. I'm starting to make what do they call them on YouTube? Shorts. YouTube shorts. That's pretty cool. I've got haters now. You plug a YouTube video into this link and it auto generates clips. EMP, you show me this. It's awesome. But it generates those little clips. I post them up there. They've got a couple of them got like over 1,000 views, and I'm accustomed to having like 1-digit views. I'm at the very beginnings of my social media journey, doing the thing, so on and so forth. You know, it's funny to me though. I'm looking at it like, damn, how the fuck did that get 1.5 thousand views? That feels like a lot to me. It's not in the grand scheme. It's not actually a lot of views, but it's funny. I've got haters now. On the one, I was saying it was called. Well, it was basically like why I lift every day because it fires me up. It gives me a high thumos state of being. You know, I can accomplish. I can crush every fucking day. Every day I can go out and fucking get some. I didn't think I'd have to. Apparently, I'm unique in that. I don't know. I'm not whatever his name was. Someone random. When I get random comments on the internet, this is new to me. It's new to me. Everyone talks about it. Who's out here with a presence on the internet? I don't have that. I just do the thing. You know. Yeah, guys. Like every lift is an ego lift. I don't know if that was a hater thing. I don't know if that was a sarcasm thing. I don't know. I have no idea. Who knows if he even lifts? I doubt he squats. What's his bench? So on and so forth. Do I care? No, I think it's funny. Then on another one, I was talking, it was that thing I found. Not even an original thought. It's just the thing I found online, basically shitting on some of the more renowned philosophers. And I guess calling Nietzsche a loser is a crime to some people because that's the whole entirety of the one short. And his comment was, well, that's why we're still talking about these guys. And in 100 years, no one's going to remember you. I'm like, damn, homie. Oh, man, you fucking came from my heart, bro. That hurt my feelings, dog. Why? That shit's so funny to me. So to me, it's like, all right, well, if these things are starting to get a little traction and the experience is starting to change, that shit's funny. Because what I've also noticed is I'm getting a few more subscribers. I'm in the double digits subscribers now. So I fucking love that shit. Welcome to this fine Friday. BS with Be Honest, that's me. Even though I run my yap online, I run my mouth a little bit in the morning. It's mostly about good things, I think. I like to think. But to those people who are just new or finding their way here, what's up, Jerome? Jerome Wright, what's good? Good morning. This is secondary to me anyway. You know, the music's more fun. The music's more fulfilling to me. This is just something to do, but I'm loving it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Thank you guys. What am I thinking about today? Let me pull my notes out because this is mostly an improv show. I mostly just wing it, but I do have a rough outline because I like to read. I get up and I walk and I ponder and I read and I think and now I talk. You know, let's put it all together. I'm still reading that book, First Principles. I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost done. Been reading voraciously the past couple weeks, and I like the old school, like founding, original America stuff. Very interesting. So here's a couple quotes that have run through my brain as I'm reading this old, what I perceive to be pretty heady and dense history stuff, right? So here's a quote we all know. It's from Tywin, well, not Tywin, Tyrion Lannister. Tyrion likes to drink and know things. Okay. Here's another quote. A wise man knows that he knows nothing. That's from Socrates. And then here's another one. I'm kind of retarded. Alex Jones. And this is my thought process. This is my thought process when I sit and read, when I get in my studies, when I get in the books, when I start to really kind of get down to it. And I don't want to read just to skim words and not remember, not recall anything. And I like to think I'm kind of smart. And that's probably a character flaw. That's probably a massive, glaring character flaw. Because then when I start to read things, I feel stupid. I realize just the sheer amount of shit that I don't actually know. You know, like I'm reading through this First Principles book, and it's at the point where it's at the formation going from the Articles of Confederation after the Revolutionary War into drafting the papers that became the Constitution, the Constitutional Conventions up until the late 1780s. And it's about that era moving into the 1790s and early 1800s, where it's an emergent nation, a union of states. So it's common now. Everyone likes to talk now about the federal powers and states' rights and individual rights, this, and that. As I'm reading this whole book generally, it's like endlessly pertinent. I think a lot of these guys were very prescient. They had an eye towards the future. You know, a couple hundred years later, we're still having almost these same fucking discussions on a much different scale. You know, these guys were obviously in cahoots with the British on some levels, even after the war, very indebted to the French and all types of fucking international relationships going on, interstate relationships going on. And it was led by a small group of people, primarily college educated. You know, the chasms, the same chasms and disconnects and differences between us and them and us, we the people, them the tyrants. A lot of this stuff is still super relevant. And it just when you're reading, I'm reading this at least, and it's like in Federalist 41 and Federalist 51. What do you say, Jerome? Then he talks like a guy who just finished reading the dictionary for the first time. Bro, you ever read the dictionary? I haven't. I should. You know, that's the famous story. That's what Malcolm X did when he went to prison. He went to prison as Detroit Red and came out Malcolm X. He read the dictionary, among many other things, I'm sure. That's fucking crazy. That's a feat. Now that you mention it, dude, I need to get a couple good dictionaries. But anyway, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's mind blowing shit, dude. Like, I read enough, and a lot of what I read is typically like personal development and like self help, motivational stuff. And I've read so much of it that it's like, all right, this is good. This is cool. I appreciate hearing stories from other people who are more accomplished and have done things and are all about the doing of things. So here's some wisdom to you, young man, about doing some things. Right on. I can take that. But now it's like deep, dense history that you have to devote a large portion of your life to speak well and articulately and have a cohesive argument or a level of analysis, even when you're talking about Hamilton and James Madison and John Adams and Benjamin Franklin coming back from Paris and fucking whatever, dude. Like, I like to think I'm smart till I read this, and then I'm fucking just like dumb. So, to the haters out there, please remind me. Tell me again, motherfucker. Diminutive. Yup. The haters are going to love these clips today. Well, I hope I get them. Bring them on in. Maybe they like to bang their heads and listen to metal. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, so I'm just like in the midst of this, dude. It's fucking really crazy. The book is good. I like this book a lot. It's called First Principles: What America's Founders Learned from the Greeks and Romans and How That Shaped Our Country. So here's a quote that is in that book from Noah Webster. Now, since I'm dumb, I'm slow. I don't know exactly who Noah Webster is, but he's credited with being a Yale graduate in 1778. So the context of that in this book tells me that they were all peers. They all knew each other on some level. A lot of these guys were at Yale or Princeton, William and Mary University. It's super like, that's the inner circle. That's where they came from. That's where the seeds of the revolution were fomented. Then it trickled down into the pubs and the common man and so on and so forth. It was also really interesting reading how Washington, in the absence of a real standing regular army, the way he was actually using the militias to fight the war of attrition. Yeah, super cool. I think this stuff's super interesting, bro. But anyway, Noah Webster said he posed the question as an was he an anti-federalist or a federalist? It's all about the Federalist Papers, which I realized I need to fucking read because that shit's heady. I like it. But anyway, Noah Webster said he posed the question. He said, "What advantage does a merchant, a mechanic, a farmer derive from an acquaintance with the Greek and Roman tongues? AKA, why does the common man care about this classic stuff?" That's a big theme, is the movement away from classicism. The old heads, the old timers, Washington and Jefferson, they were enamored by the Greeks and the Romans and what we call classicism, which is super, in my mind, it's like that's the real deep philosophical angle, borderline metaphysical angle into how to form the new government. But there's a passage they kept saying here where it's the dissenters from that saying, yo, we need to get away from this old, archaic, antiquated form of looking at things because we have to accept men as we find them, not as we wish they would be. That's a fucking truth bomb, dude. That's what they talk about in a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in. We got to deal with life on life's terms, not in the ideals, not in the utopian visions that we wish we could have. You can't have, we can't have the foundation of this new thing we're building be on the presumed virtuousness and patriotism of all men. Because at the end of the day, that's not sustainable. The best intentions. You can't just have that. That doesn't work. People are propelled by self interest. People are propelled by what they want, which is not always virtuous. It's not always in accordance with a Platonic form that points us to a higher sense of self and blah, 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 blah. Take men as you find men. So they're looking at it like, what do we do with this? That's life, dude. We can't operate in life as if wanting things to be what they aren't. We have to operate with things as they are. Play it as it lies, Mr. Gilmore. Play it off Bigfoot's fat fucking foot. You got to do the best with what you got. That's very true. I think I'm hearing it in the fucking 1780s. I think it's interesting. Maybe want to come out here and talk about it. Here's a quote from James Madison. Wait, no, I don't want to go there. Yeah, so that's the thing. The guys, Noah Webster's asking about what does the layman care about these old antiquated forms of pretentious thought? And then the author, he added this, which I thought was very interesting and true. He says that in the new nation, knowledge would not be seen as a good in itself, but as a tool to be judged by its usefulness, which would become the new American measure of things. It's kind of like what I'm doing here. What'd you say, Jerome? Patriotism? Oh, yeah, dude. I've got a fucking chronic case, too. Oh, it's rough. It may be terminal. What good is studying all this stuff? What good is learning all this stuff? What good is pondering and pontificating about all this? What I keep saying is interesting, fascinating, so on and so forth. What good does it do me, though? Just like all the self-help stuff and, motivational stuff. What good is it until you put it into use? Until you do something with it? What you gonna do with it? That's true. They're having that same fucking discussion back then. Super, super cool. Here's another quote from Lord Bolingbroke. Bolingbroke? Maybe I typed it wrong. I don't know. And I don't know who the fuck he was either, but he was important enough for Mr. Thomas Ricks to cite, and even out of context. I'll be the first to say context is important. Context matters in everything. Obviously, no shit. But sometimes you can pull something right out of context that'll still hit and it'll still kind of teach you something. It'll still point you right in the direction of being taught something. I think that's valuable as well. Lord Bolingbroke, he said that we must not imagine that the freedom of the Romans was lost because one party fought for the maintenance of liberty. and another for the establishment of tyranny, and that the later prevailed. No, the spirit of liberty was dead, and the spirit of faction had taken its place on both sides. Yeah, man. Isn't that interesting? The way we look back at what we're told, at what they told us, the stories were given. That one party was founded on fighting for liberty and justice, and the other one was hell bent on being a tyrannical new world order instigator. That's not true. Probably wasn't even in the discussion. Faction, factionalism is a big thing. This is the beginning of partisan politics in American history, as far as I understand, which might not be that far. That's okay. And there's a big argument that they're crafting here that since the public is not founded on virtue in the 18th century sense, that begets self interest. Many people with competing self interests begets groups and factionalism and sectarianism and so on and so forth. And as that propels itself, out of the window go these big lofty ideals of liberty and tyranny and virtue and all the things that the old head George Washington, you're concerned about people being patriots and inherently doing the right thing for the just cause. The young bucks are saying, "You're old, dude. You're missing the point. Got to get past this shit." We find ourselves still in that, man. We've he died. He did. That's right. It's so pertinent to me, man. We find ourselves still dealing with a lot of this stuff. Here's James Madison in Federalist 51 discussing checks and balances of government, which if you look at the fucking news today, this is all these fools talk about government, 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 government. There was something I encountered, an idea that's like, you get the government you deserve. No one wants that. No one wants that discussion, though. Some fools are like, get rid of the whole government. I don't know. I bet most people that are in favor of removing every system that keeps society together, they probably read this shit and think they know better. I don't know. Who's to say? You let me know in the comments, everybody. Here's James Madison in Federalist 51 discussing checks and balances. He says, ambition must be made to counteract ambition. It may be a reflection on human nature that such devices should be necessary to control the abuses of government. But, this is the question he asked, but what is government itself but the greatest of all reflections on human nature? If men were angels, no government would be necessary. What is government itself but the greatest of all reflections on human nature? There's a lot of things that government is, and I'm not a fan of the current governing structure, let's just say. But how arrogant and stupid is that for me to say I know better? Man, it's fucking crazy. I wonder how many people in our government are engaged in this kind of civic investigation, analyzing the roots of our country and the democratic republic tradition and where it came from. I wonder how many actually astute, intelligent, well-to-do, diligent scholars are among them. I bet it don't even matter, does it? I bet it don't even matter, does it? The factionalism takes over. The sectarianism takes over. Motherfuckers out here propelled by their own self-interest, as we all are on some level. But at what point does that turn into like the mind fuck element of it? It's hard, dude. It's really hard. When I hear people in the business world or in the, again, back to like the self-help world and all that, when they're saying you have to live service oriented first, you can't be selfish. What's that fine line between being selfish and being of service? Is it a fine line, or is it just the total destruction of your own ego, completely decentering yourself from yourself and moving forward as if you're just only helping other? That's really difficult, at least for me. Like, but it seems to be one of these truths. That's no different than what they're talking about with this conception of public virtue way back then. Sacrifice the shit I was talking about the other day. Sacrifice your immediate pleasure, your immediate self-interest, your immediate wants and perceived needs for something bigger and greater than you. And then we move forward accordingly. What they're saying now is like, man, that's a pie in the sky. That's some bullshit. In other words, people aren't like that. We got to take people as they are. We got to play this game of golf as it lies. And if it's fucking rainy and shitty, well, so be it. So be it. We got to do what we can with what we got in front of us. Which brings me back to it's the same shit, dude. It's what the fucking Stoics talk about. What kind of choice do we really have in the matter? It's all these big things that are way too big for me. Like I said, I think I'm smart. It's what I wrote in my song Wrong Path, dude. I think I'm so smart. I think I'm so clever. But I'm so smart I can't get out of my own fucking way, dude. How smart am I? How smart are you? Who's smarter than me? Who am I smarter than? It's very interesting and it's fruitless at a certain point. It's a silly, unwarranted, unnecessary comparative game. But there's so much shit out there to learn and read. I think it's interesting, dude. So that's why I'm here on a fine Friday morning. So I can wake up and take a nice walk, get rained on, ponder things in the rain, pensive, read some good stuff, come out here and talk to you people. My people. You motherfuckers are my people. But that's all I got today. I got to go lift. It's a Friday. Chest and arms every day. Feed the ego. Anyway, happy Friday. One love. I'm out of here. If you like this shit, hit that follow button. Hit that subscribe button. At BS with Hannas on YouTube. Goes out to Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, so on and so forth. If you want some music, some heavy blues metal, NikkiBHannas.com, NikkiBHannas.bandcamp.com, Nikki B. Hannas on all streaming services. Got another YouTube channel at Nikki B. Hannas, some live footage, some official music videos, backing track jam series. Been a lot of fun. I'd rather play my guitar than talk, but if I can do both, I'm having the best time ever. That's about it. You want to support the mission? Patreon.com/Nikki B. Hannas. Yeah, that's it. Happy Friday. Keep it real. One love. Peace.
Freedom